The lantern in the forest. The moon hung high above the forest, casting long shadows between the trees. Beneath the branches, a path wound through the thick underbrush, barely wide enough for a person to walk. The night was unusually still, the only sound the soft rustle of leaves and the occasional hoot of an owl. Sophie had always been drawn to the woods. There was something about the ancient trees, the secrets they seemed to whisper, and the sense of magic that lingered in the air. But tonight was different. Tonight she was not here for a walk, nor for the peace the forest usually brought her. Tonight she was searching for someone. For weeks now, Sophie had heard rumors of a lantern that appeared deep in the forest on nights like this one. A lantern that could grant a wish to anyone who found it. But it wasn't an ordinary lantern. It was said to be a relic of the old world, a gift from the stars themselves. Her grandmother had told her stories about it when she was a child, though Sophie always thought they were just fairy tales. Now, with her heart pounding, Sophie was determined to find out for herself if the stories were true. She walked deeper into the forest, her breath visible in the cold night air. The trees seemed to grow taller and closer together as she went, their branches intertwining like fingers. But then, as she turned a corner in the path, she saw it. A soft, golden light shimmered through the trees, flickering like a candle flame. It was the lantern. Sophie's heart skipped a beat. She approached slowly, her feet crunching softly on the damp earth. The lantern hung from a twisted branch, glowing gently in the darkness. It was beautiful, carved from an ancient wood, with intricate designs that seemed to move when she looked closely. Her grandmother's words echoed in mind. Asterisk, if you find the lantern, you must make your wish carefully. The forest will grant it, but it is never quite what you expect. Sophie hesitated. She had no idea what to wish for. The last few years had been hard. Her parents had passed away in a tragic accident, and she had been living with her grandmother ever since. But even in her sorrow, she knew what she truly longed for, a way to bring her parents back. She stepped forward and spoke the words she had rehearsed in her mind for weeks. I wish for one more day with my parents. Just one more day to tell them everything I never got to say. The lantern flickered brighter, and the light grew blinding. Sophie had to shield her eyes, and when the light dimmed, she found herself standing in a small, familiar kitchen. The smell of fresh bread filled the air, and she heard the sound of laughter from the other room. "Mom? Dad?" Sophie whispered, her voice trembling. She rushed into the living room, and there they were, her parents, sitting on the couch, smiling as if nothing had ever happened. Her heart swelled with joy and disbelief. But as she approached them, something felt wrong. The air was too still, the warmth too perfect. Her mother looked up, her smile distant. "You shouldn't be here, Sophie," her mother said, her voice soft and sorrowful. Sophie froze. "What do you mean?" "This is not the world you belong to anymore," her father said gently. "You've come to visit us, but you cannot stay." Sophie's chest tightened, and she felt tears welling up in her eyes. "But I just wanted one more day with you. Please." Her mother reached out, but there was a sadness in her eyes, as if she already knew what was coming. "You have to live your life, Sophie. You have to move forward." The world around Sophie began to fade, the edges of the room blurring like a painting washed by rain. Her parents' forms became less distinct, and Sophie felt a deep aching emptiness. The light from the lantern grew stronger once again, and with a final, loving smile, her parents vanished. Sophie was back in the forest, standing alone beneath the lantern. She blinked, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Her chest ached, but she understood now. The lantern had granted her wish, but it wasn't the answer she had hoped for. She couldn't undo the past. She could only carry their memory with her and live the life they would have wanted her to. As the lantern's light flickered one last time, Sophie turned and walked away, her heart both heavy and hopeful. She would go forward one step at a time, one day at a time. And though she was still grieving, she knew she would always carry a piece of them in her heart. Subscribe and like for more.